Hi, welcome to the K.AI Podcast. Here we'll discuss technology, artificial intelligence, and how does that affect you and the corporate world. My name is Tiago Marques, and I was the co-founder and CTO at Rely.io, a Techstars accelerated AI company. Today, I have here with me Luis Andrade, founder and CEO of Morphis Technologies, which their core business lies upon the automated modernization of legacy applications, right?
Right. So, hello, I'm Luis Andrade, as Ricard says. I'm here to discuss today a very enthusiastic topic about AI, how AI will influence and help people developing what will be the next generation of applications and improving the day's life of everyone in different fields. So, thank you
Exactly.
for inviting me.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to speak a little bit more about your relationship with AI. How did you first interact? Did you like hear it at college?
I'm from the very old school when AI was basically more related with Prolog, Lisp, and all those old languages that by the time it was more related with logic, okay,
Okay.
propositional logic, where you make inference from axioms and this kind of thing. And now the new generation of AI, which is based on machine learning, more based on probabilistic models and taking heavy challenge of the mathematics behind the data analysis and doing many different ways of analyzing the knowledge and data that is available. So having a background
Yeah.
in mathematics and computer science, it was always some area that I was
Of course.
anytime in my mind. And since Morphis was initially related with modernizing legacy applications, we very early in the process we have been faced with the problem of dealing with large complex systems and the lack of people to work and make possible the transformational process of moving from a legacy technology to a new stack of technology. So being very large and very complex processes, even with automation that we have been working on creating transformation automatas to produce those transformations, we had always to end up with a scenario where we have to have people involved finalizing and completing the code and things that the automation process doesn't be able to do. And even that small portion of work being small, it's a large amount of work that still has to be done by labor-intensive work. So in my mind, and as part of the fundamental principles of the company, we have always in mind how to automate those processes. And AI, when we start exploring the last developments of AI, we just came up with the idea of taking advantage of AI to improve and automate those labor-intensive tasks that we still have to do in our modernization projects.
And you have big players like Microsoft, IBM, Fujitsu, all your clients, right?
Yes, we have been always dealing with big players.
Yeah.
Because we have very, very large customers, tier one customers in tier one markets. And in most cases, we had to compete with the biggest companies worldwide. So for me, it's something that it doesn't pose a problem. It's a challenge because they have many, many more resources that we have available. Of course, that they have worldwide market penetration that we don't. They have almost unlimited resources to invest in anything they want to do. But as everything in life, the only thing that for me makes the difference is the passion that we involved doing things. And I believe that at Morphis we have always been very passionate with everything that we do, and that makes the difference, in my opinion.
Yeah. You almost have around 20 years of experience in this field, right?
Yeah.
In this legacy modernization. Yeah,
that's right.
I think I would like to ask you. I probably know the answer to this, and Ricardo is probably saying it. But what's your favorite programming language?
It depends. I would say that when I started was C, because we could do everything with C.
Yeah.
But as we get older, we get more lazy, and language that makes things easier.
Dealing with pointers and
are better than the other one. But I'm still working a lot with Java. Because it's an enterprise level language. Although .NET with C# is a language that came from many ideas from Java from the beginning. That's the true. And it's a language that has, I would say that it's in pair with Java. But Java is my favorite language by now.
Yeah, and especially, and you work with Java all the time, right? The legacy modernization, you do it to Java. Yeah, and also, after this, what's your IDE of choice?
Now it's Eclipse because it's free.
Oh, that's the only reason. Stay away from IntelliJ, at least. What are your thoughts about open source? About open source libraries?
I think that open source makes a very, very big difference in the community, because it's a truly genuine way that people contribute for the development of the world. There are lots of things that without the open source movement, I would say that we would be decades
That's true.
Behind what we are seeing today. So I think that even in machine learning, you have all these new companies and very large models like the ones used in ChatGPT by OpenAI and Microsoft that adopted and invested in
Llama and all of those.
But on the other hand, we have a lot of open source models that are very capable as well. After being fine-tuned, that was what we hoped to do. Of course, that we can work as well with OpenAI through the API they provide. But for our customers that are very concerned about the security and not having their code and other information being public and traveling to the internet, so we opt to have our own models that we fine-tuned from very known open source models that are available in the market.
Yeah, we'll go a little bit into K-Explorer in a second. But how did K-Explorer
appeared?
Appeared. Where did the idea come from?
Because from two main reasons. The first one I mentioned already was our experience with modernization, where we dealt with that problem of very intensive tasks that we still have to deal with and very complex problems to solve. And the second source of inspiration was because in this modernization process, we had to deal with the static code analysis of legacy applications, and not just legacy, but as well the code in modern languages like Java, C#, etc. So having that experience, because we have a product as well that collects information about code, about software portfolios. So having all this information available, we suddenly said, okay, if we have all this information available, why not apply AI technologies and models to take advantage of this knowledge? That's what was the reason. Very, very curious. We announced and we had the first version of the product even before ChatGPT and OpenAI announced the ChatGPT. We announced the product last year in end of October. The product was available for experiments in an experimental environment where we start using and we made a public presentation end of last year. But when ChatGPT appeared, we decided to
Hold
up a little bit, just to see what would be the trend, what they have been announced, because we realized that ChatGPT and Microsoft are very, very big players in this field. So we decided to wait a little bit to see the trend, to reposition our strategy, and positively, it was really a good idea because it helped us to decide what are the differentiators that we have, how we should position our product and our message in the market, and it worked well.
Yeah, because one of the things that I've noticed is whenever I attempt to use ChatGPT, for example, to create some code, I mean, if you ask simple things, it generally works. But if you go just a little bit further and ask something a little bit more specific, well, it just makes up libraries that do not exist. It makes up functions that doesn't work.
That's one of the problems that people didn't understand is that, first of all these models they are called large language models because they have been trained as general language that they learn about. It's a tokenizing process of reading tokens from different sources of information, mainly the web, and they treat the code as a simple token as any other language like French, German, or Portuguese, or Spanish, or whatever, or English. And they take inference based on a token recognition process, and it's probabilistic all the time, because the very essence of those models are probabilistic models that they try to find the most likelihood of the next tokens that should appear in a sequence of tokens that you write. It's the same thing that you do on your mobile or when you are writing some text, that the tools nowadays provide you with some suggestions about the next word that could appear up and on the context of the previous words you have written so far. With the programming language, the principle is the same. Okay, so what makes difference in our approach? As I first said, we are specialized just on code, not as a general purpose AI model. Okay, because those models have the very good benefit of treating every aspect of our life, of the knowledge that we have today. We are specialized just on code because it's our field. And what we do is not just leading with the code as simple tokens, but as knowledge graphs that we really know about the code. Because, as I said before, we do a static analysis of code before we do the training. And when we fine-tuning the models, we fine-tuning those models with more knowledge, and even the interaction that the user has with our tools is based on knowledge about the code, not just the code itself as a sequence of tokens. That's the big difference. And the other point that is important to mention is that, as I said, most of the large enterprises are very keen about security and about privacy. And no one in banks or even sensitive
code
business,
leaks.
they don't want to see the leaks of their code or their information on the web. So one of the good receptions we have got from customers and the good reaction is that Morphis, with our K-Explorer approach, we have private models that are not on the web. Even they could be in our cloud, but can be as well installed on-prem in the internet of customers. And with that, they have the privacy of their code, their models, etc. So they don't see their information flow in the web.
So there's like a separation between private code and the private code base of a company, and then the open source
and the public, the community source.
That other LLMs use. Yes. I see.
And that's the answer for your point when you said that when you start playing with ChatGPT or other tools about the generic code, okay, you may find very good solutions for things that they learned before.
Exactly.
But they couldn't provide you good solutions on things that they didn't saw before. And most of the times they didn't learn
Of course.
the code base of customers because it's private code. And
That's where you come in. Yeah.
where we come in because we learn with the private code of customers. That's the big difference.
Because the last thing that a developer wants is to ask ChatGPT, for instance, to make up some code, and then paste it onto the IDE, runs it,
Right.
and then you need to be debugging it.
Yeah.
And that's just the worst.
But let me just say something that everyone has to be aware about it. Those models, even our model, they are not perfect.
Of course.
Okay? Even humans are not perfect. So
Exactly.
we make mistakes, and those models make mistakes as well.
That's why we
and
have
sometimes
debuggers.
they do what's called the hallucination. Sometimes they hallucinate and start replying very stupid things but most of the times the things that they provide are really very, very helpful and very accurate. Okay, but it's up to the human to decide
Exactly.
if he accepts or not the code that is proposed. You cannot blindly adopt things that an engine of AI provides you, because could be right or could be wrong.
Human is always in control.
Yeah,
Of course.
because all these things works with rankings and scores. Okay, you ask me something. If I am an AI engine, you ask me something, and I provide you some answer based on a score,
Of course.
on a ranking of the probability of being right or wrong what I'm telling you. And there's always a probability that it will be not right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I believe these types of tools, like K-Explorer, will make developers way more productive than they were before. Not replacing them, but making them more productive as they leverage on this technology.
I would say that that's completely right. But I would add to that point that one of the good benefits of it is that most of the times, and I have been in this field for a while, most of the times we are writing code that is infrastructural code, are things that are not so many focus on your problem, but around the code that you need to create just for the very specific and very little business rules that you want to apply to work. And there is where those tools help a lot, because they make the developer time more focus on what is important in terms of the business problems that they have to solve, and not just the infrastructural code and the things that that if you have to do a web service or something like that, you know that you have to follow a set of patterns and protocols that you have to for writing a good code, and that's the kind of things that those models know to do well.
Yeah, definitely true. Well, I would like to start with a segment that we call AI or fiction. And this is a little bit of somewhat of a game in which I'll tell you two really short stories, and then you have to figure out which one's true and which one's false, which one's AI made up, and which one is actually true. So I'll start with the first one. In 2017, a lifelike humanoid was obtained guaranteed citizenship with documents and passports in Saudi Arabia. The second sentence or story is, in 2021, a software engineer at OpenAI was testing a new algorithm on uncensored songs and movies. When testing, the algorithm couldn't say a single sentence without swearing at the engineer. He proceeded to delete it and start over.
But you ask me if those stories are...
One is true, and the other one is false.
The second is true.
The OpenAI engineer?
Yeah.
No, it's actually the other way around.
So I was just guessing.
Yeah, because the first one is you probably know Sophia. Do you know?
I know.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. A lot of people know that the humanoid could speak, could show emotion, and could even understand emotion. But actually, Saudi Arabia gave it as a citizen, gave it a passport. Yeah, it has a passport. As long as you know, it could be an airplane coming here.
Yeah, okay.
That's funny.
But this is the kind of the funny things that you will find much more funny stories, and that's one of the things that worries me most, is the fake things that will start happening. Okay, there's a very, very funny podcast about people that make Biden and Trump together making a debate on the next elections. But
with
it's
video
a fake,
and everything,
and people feed them
true.
with
and they look
very
real.
stupid thing, and it's very funny. But the point here, people that is not aware about the capacity and the capabilities that are available now on AI, they will take it as true, as something that is real and is not real. And the distinguish between what is real and what is fake is getting very, very narrow. And the manipulation of information will be the very, very big challenging on next.
One of the things that I always really thought is that before, and I think we do that now, when we want to know if something's true or false, even when I was looking up at these stories, well, you go on Google or your favorite search engine, you search for it, and then you see how many articles or how many news or relates to what you're searching. And what happens is, if you use AI to generate articles for your website, even if you're like on a marketing standpoint, attempting to gain more followers or more visitors to your website, if you use AI to make up those articles and those articles aren't true, and then it's like a cycle, because AI generates some other AI content that's not true, and then it's like a cycle. It just keeps on, and then you don't know what's true and false.
Yeah, and the point about, and people has to know one thing, which is AI, as I said before, is based on probabilistic models. Yeah. And one of the things that you can play with those models is what they call the temperature, which is how you want to make your model being more creative or more objective and correct in the answer. If you if you increase the temperature, which is saying, okay, let's just, if is the inverse of the probability of a thing is to be correct, so inversing the probability of something to happen. If you increase the temperature, which is in some sense saying, be creative, I want you to be free to generate free text or free images or free whatever, okay, you will get the most randomly, you would say, mathematically speaking, the most randomly information that you can get from those systems. And sometimes they are very creative. I used to say that when I start my degree in mathematics, I had a professor in probability that he said once something that I never forgot. If you give all the time of the universe to a bunch of monkeys, okay, with a typewriting machine, they could create a genius book or a story,
one
whatever,
day,
because
one monkey will.
They have all the time the probability that once in the future time,
that's how probability works.
Probability works. That's the same thing with this model.
Do you believe AI can make you laugh? Like, can it make a joke?
Yeah, maybe. There are many news about trying to emulate, for example, music from Beatles, from Bob Dylan, etc., and even making mix. Of course, that you can trust on the quality of those things, but it's something that I will never buy for myself, because I really like to see the genius of the humanity when producing and create new things, because AI is just trying to replicate what the humanity has been created, the mankind created until now.
Okay. The goal is AGI. Artificial general intelligence.
But it will be always based on what the humankind, the mankind discovered and created by the creativity and intelligence of the man. Okay.
And when do you think we'll need to be using the Turing test to figure out if we're talking to a human or?
That is past already. Okay? That's the reality. There is a funny. I was reading the other day a guy that says that the next Turing test for AI would be make me millionaire, and you will pass the Turing test. So that's maybe
funny. That's funny. That sounds a little bit more work,
right?
Than
more
just
pragmatic.
Yes, and a little bit more than just writing text. That's true. But because irony and sarcasm, they seem really difficult to emulate in an AI or machine learning model, because even sometimes humans don't understand it, irony and sarcasm, when we send messages, text messages, and that. So I believe that's a really difficult thing to try to human-like.
The point is always the same, that if you repeat, okay, and one of the good points will be for I'm just thinking aloud. For the next kind of Turing tests, okay, for those AI models compared with the human, okay, a human would be trying to repeat the same question, okay, to AI model and see how creative it will be, providing different variations of the same topic with different angles. Because
so determinism.
Not the determinism. Yes, for the same problem, if you repeat your prompt to an AI system, you maybe end up having always the same repetitive answer. Okay, but if you start asking different aspects and to variations of the way you want to see the same problem, okay, a person will have much more insights to provide with other feelings, other angles to tackle the same problem, that an AI system will not do it. Because if you start asking him to do variations, he starts hallucinating, and you will discover
relatively fast that it's not a human, and it's an AI.
For me, it's the best test that you can provide for.
Do you believe prompt engineering will be taught like at universities or schools?
It depends, because we take a lot of advantage of prompt engineering, okay? Because we have the context of all the things that we do, okay? When we analyze the code base of any company, and we really manipulate the prompt, the intention that a developer has to do something.
So there's a filter. You filter it.
We filter and we complement, and we analyze what is the intention, and we provide more context, and we know what are the patterns of code that you have to create to be compliant with the code and the standards that you have in your company. And that's one of the ways that is a short context training, okay, or intention context training that we do in a short step when we interact with the models. Is one of the ways that we complement the thing. But extrapolating this idea to other areas of science or life, like, for example, biology or engineering or other things, okay? Of course, that if you have more context, okay, to complement and even to provide more I would say, more rigorous intentions or prompts to a language model, we'll get a better reply. Because the secret for those models to work well is because language is not rigorous, the natural language, okay? Has ambiguities on it, etc. So if you find a way to be very rigorous on the way you make an intention and describe that intention to a model, okay, more rigorous the model will be replying, okay. So yeah, I believe that prompt engineering will be something that people will learn in the future.
That makes sense.
But it will be specialized in different areas, because prompting, a good prompt for medicine, biology, or marketing or programming are different ways to do and that will be specialized.
I mean, that does sound dangerous, like on a medical, from a medical point of view, like having someone. I mean, if it's not a critical thing, then okay.
It depends. I would believe that in general terms it will help, because one of the things that is not just AI, is computers in general. They are much more rigorous approaching a problem that as humans. Because if if I am tired, or I wake up not very well today, I will be not so. I would say so available for thinking in a more broader way. Okay, maybe I will make worse decisions. Okay,
then probably a computer
and a computer is always very systematic and very rigorous on approaching a problem. Of course, that it's part of the solution. It's not the full solution. And if you complement that rigorousness or availability of a computer providing information for a human to decide how to use that information to make the best decision, is the good combination. That's why I don't believe that on those people that are criticized that AI will take
over the world.
It's a stupid thing, because AI will be very, very helpful, providing us with the information for us to take the final decision, and will improve the humankind in that sense, because we will be more free to think, to be more agile, taking decisions, etc.
That makes sense. And I don't know if you're familiar with Eliezer Yudovsky. He's like an American artificial intelligence researcher at universities, and he has this this popularizing idea related to artificial intelligence that includes somewhat of a fire alarm for AI. So like a kill switch that you can just turn it off and it doesn't do harm.
Yeah, there are some problems that we have to face. The ethics, the bias, because all these AI models learn with the information that they have available to train. And if you have ethic minorities that have not been provided with the right information about these minority populations and ethnic groups or genders or whatever, okay, you will get those AI models reason on providing wrong information about some situations, which is called the bias. So it's a serious problem that people have to be aware about it, and those large companies and people that are creating these large language models have to have a way to curate the information before feeding those models to train. This is one problem. The second problem is what I mentioned before, which is the fake news and fake information that will come from those models, that they seem so real that the average people will not differentiate what would be real, fake, and fake. And that's a dangerous thing. And people will start taking as true things that are fake.
Exactly.
Those are the major problems with AI. If we need to have a switch to turn off, maybe it is too early to make a so strong affirmation. Okay, but there is a second part of the danger with AI, which is when you start mixing AI with robotics. Because so far you have AI on your computer, your laptop, that can give you fake information, but it's up to you to decide.
What about when it moves, right?
Okay. But if you start putting AI on something that is a mechanical device that can harm you, because that device, imagine a robot that has the capacity to grab you or to take a physical action on real life, that is danger. Because without having AI being curated and having a whole human, worldwide discussion about the ethics of using AI and how you could feed AI with the right principles of using the knowledge, okay, you can end up having people, bad people, arming robotics and things with.
Yeah, but I think I believe that even if you have AI robots, they couldn't really do a lot of harm. I mean, they could do on a small scale, but not on a big scale, because they couldn't reproduce themselves. They're probably not robust. And
It depends. If you like to start this kind of sci-fi,
exactly. This
so
is
a
a little
sci-fi
bit,
discussion now, and of course that from many years from
No,
now,
that's true.
you can see. I can see the all factories being managed by robots and AI.
true.
That's a possibility, but we are so far from that. But we have to start discussing those points now
Yeah.
and starting creating all the ethics and
But about
regulations about it.
the ethics part, like it's one of those problems where it's just the way humankind is, because that mankind is, because when you have artificial intelligence coming and feeding on human information, it will mimic humankind. Therefore, like those ethics and that part, when people are limiting and attempting to unbias the system, or in this case to bias the system so that it doesn't think certain ways, and it changes the way it goes. It's like fighting humanity through a computer.
Yeah, the point is coming to the politics now,
Yeah.
politics now, because it's the same with the climate change effects that we are observing. The most polluter countries are the most developed ones. Okay, the ones that are suffering most are the poor countries like Africa. Okay, where the pollution that they provide to the world is 1% or 2% of the pollution of that all the humankind is providing or generating. But they are that suffering most because they have the dry seasons where they are shortage of food, of water, and that's the same problem with AI, because we have the richest countries and the richest companies providing the contents and providing all these things for the poor ones having to observe. So this is the problem of the world. We are moving now for the politics of the problem. I prefer to diverge from that, because if we go that direction, I have many things to say.
The typical, the rich run the world, and that's how it goes.
Not the rich, because being rich is not the problem.
Developed countries.
The problem is the power used in favor of a minority, not on the because you can be rich and providing technologies and providing things that will benefit a large amount of people. But if you are rich, having all the resources and creating things that will take advantage of everyone, because one of the things that we have to be aware as well is that the artificial intelligence is benefiting from all of us.
That's true.
Everything that I write, or all the papers that I wrote in the past and I published that are public domain now, is knowledge that is available on those models. So I have a team contribution, but I add that contribution for the AI. Who is benefiting from it? Myself? Maybe. But most of the common people that producing contents and producing information and do research, etc., they will not take benefits. They always take benefits those companies that have the resources to create those large models. And if there is, if it will not have a way to make these things more available, that's why the open source movement is one that
open source and decentralization. Yeah.
Because models are learning with everything that we produced, the humankind. So
that's true. Well, I think this is it.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Luís, for being here. And don't forget to follow us on online platforms. And that's it. I'll see you next time.
And try to see K.AI Explorer for the developers or for coding, because it's a really interesting tool.
Definitely.
Oh,